Hello world, it's Siraj, and hello Wager. I'm going to give you $2,000 to bet with today on cricket matches. Does that work?
Hey Siraj, that works perfectly. Let's get started on finding some good cricket matches to bet on. Any specific matches or teams you're interested in?
Well, I heard the Mumbai Indians are going to play somebody tonight. I'm not sure. Can you look that up and tell me if you think that's a good pick, or if not, what another good pick would be?
It looks like the Mumbai Indians are indeed playing against the Lucknow Super Giants tonight. Based on recent performance, the Mumbai Indians have struggled a bit. Lucknow has been strong, especially with their recent win over Mumbai. For your bet, Lucknow might be a safer choice given their current form. However, cricket can be unpredictable, so always consider the risks. How would you like to place your $2,000 bet?
I would like to place it on FanDuel. Can you do that for me? Just go ahead and do it.
I can't place bets directly for you, but I can guide you through the process.
Okay, and I'm still working on this part. Now it's going to open up HyperWrite, which is a browser agent that WagerGPT is connected to for this demo, and it's going to run an agent workflow. And this agent workflow is instructed to intelligently place a bet in my web browser. It performs actions including clicks, keyboard touches, filling out information, in regard to what it believes it needs to do. So it is intelligently using the browser just like a human would do. We're going to find out at the end of the video if my bet won or if it lost. Stay tuned till the end to see if I won or lost $2,000. But in the meantime, I have quite a lot to talk about. I haven't made a YouTube video in a few months now, and so much has happened to the WagerGPT community, so much growth, so many incredible new features, so many wins. And in this video, I want to talk about three things. First, I want to give you an overview of WagerGPT as a product and how much it's grown over the past few months. Then I want to explain the win rates in detail for WagerGPT because I know there's been some criticism around them, and I'm excited to talk about that today. And the last thing I want to do is talk about our WagerGPT API Contest. This is our first public contest that is for $10,000. And I'm going to explain the details, and members are going to be able to win that money, and the public is going to be able to participate in other ways. So I'm excited to talk about that. So those are the three things I want to talk about in this video. So let's get started with the product first. Let's go into WagerGPT as it is today and see what it is like to use this bot. So I'm going to start the bot with the start command on Telegram, and it's going to welcome me because I've authenticated. And as you can see, there are now 12 different leagues that we can find predictions for WagerGPT: EPL, NFL, SHL, NHL, NBA, NCAAF, horse races, tennis, NCAA-B, MMA, MLB, and just as of 2 days ago, cricket, because I added that. So shout out to cricket. And let's pick one of these. Let's pick NBA. That's one of our first prediction engines that WagerGPT had. And we can see some games here. So I'm going to click on this game for the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me a bet suggestion of what it thinks the best bet is. And you can see that right up here. Denver Nuggets are going to win with an 88.5% likelihood. It's also going to tell me the expected value of that bet. It's going to tell me the odds, the point spread, the over-under odds. And not only that, it's going to tell us player props. So we can click on top 5 player props, and it's going to pick 5 of the most likely players that it believes, using the data, and we'll talk about the data, is going to win. So we can bet on Anthony Edwards with an over 29.5, and we get the why. His aggressive play and scoring streaks make hitting over 29.5 points highly likely. And not only that, let's look for arbitrage opportunities with the bot. We can click on arbitrage opportunities. The bot will ask us how much we're betting, let's say $100, and then it's going to look for arbitrage opportunities across different sports books like BetMGM. It's going to try to find us the best odds, and we can see that in this case, we would lose $2 here. So we need to find the right one. So it's not going to give us bad arbitrage opportunities, it's only going to look for good ones. So we can click on a different game and we'll get the arbitrage opportunities, see if there's anything there. How about $50 here? And we can see there we have higher expected earnings. But we can keep going here. We've got arbitrage. Let's click on horse races. This is something that had to get better over time. The New York Racing Association CEO, David O'Rourke, who's a member of our community, he wanted this to be better. In February, we've improved it by a lot. Since then, you can see the top bet for this specific race in the UK is Bet on Divine Breath and Kevin Scott. They're leading with a 24% chance of victory. What I like about WagerGPT is the numbers. We all love numbers in this community, so we look for hard numbers to verify and back up our predictions here. And not only that, we have this feature called Flight Deck. And what Flight Deck is it's a way, well, before I talk about Flight Deck, let me show you what daily picks is. Across all these predictions, we want to store all of them in one cell in a CSV. And that's what WagerGPT's daily AI picks does. It looks for the best picks within a range of -200 to +200 odds, and it adds them to this list. And then we can download a CSV of that list. We can also see what the top 5 picks of all of them are. So in this case, we can see it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's going to be one of the top 5 picks. Now, all top 5 picks every day are stored in Flight Deck. And today's top 5 picks are right here in Flight Deck, just as you saw earlier. What we can do is we can download a CSV, and this CSV will contain all of Flight Deck's top 5 picks for the past 4 months, which is when I implemented that feature. When I click on Download Daily Picks, it's going to download a CSV that we can open up, and it contains every single pick across every single league for 4 months now. And this is great because it allows us to create our own prediction engines. It's a data set that we can use for the API to do new things with, and you can see them here. Every 5 minutes, it's added to this cell, and it just keeps going and going and going. And this CSV gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And every member has access to this CSV, first of all. So that's the CSV for Flight Deck. And these top 5 picks change throughout the day because of lineup changes and injury reports and odds changes and temperature changes and the home team's playing away and all these little things that our private data feeds look at. But we want to see a way to monitor those changes, sort of like a flight deck at a terminal, which shows how flights are coming and going. And to do that, we can tap the Change Analysis button, which asks Wager to then look at that data and tell us how this data has changed over time. And it will tell us exactly how it sees that analysis done. We can see different things about it, etc. Now, that is Wager. We've added some localization features. You can set your time zone and odds format if you're European or living outside the country, in India, anywhere else. And there's a lot to still do here, but I wanted to give you a quick overview of the product first and how much we've improved. Player props are now there for the NHL, for the MLB, for the NBA, as you saw, for the NCAA, and all these new leagues as well that the bot is making predictions for. I'd like also to show you this deck that I've been sharing privately, but I'd like to make it public now. WagerGPT, I'm all in on it. It is revolutionizing sports entertainment with AI. And the market opportunity is huge. In just a few months, this community has grown so much, and it's been incredible to watch. This is a community that is looking for the edge, and we have the best data and the AI knowledge in the space. And as a community, it's so incredible to see all of the math and numbers and tracking that we do to get the edge, because we find it both enjoyable as a data science practice and fun as a way of responsibly placing bets. And this number, by the way, needs to be updated because it says WagerGPT has a 70% win rate predicting winning teams and players across 9 sports leagues. First, we have many more sports leagues. As you saw, we have 12 now. And second of all, that win rate is for 9 leagues. It needs to be expanded for all the leagues we have. And not just that, it needs to not just be a cumulative win rate, it needs to be an individual win rate for each specific league, which I'm going to show you in a second. Our business model is we charge $200 a month for these premium predictions, which if you look at other people, like check out these racing dudes, $900 a month for horse racing predictions alone. That is not good. That sounds very scammy. WagerGPT, in comparison, based on the amount of prompt betting data we have from our users, is a steal. It is not, it is a $200 a month subscription that is not just for horse racing, which people have their own dedicated bot picks for. It's for all 12 leagues that I just showed you, and player props, and arbitrage, and flight deck, and the community that we have, a private, incredible community. And the growth strategy for Wager, I'm all in on this, is going to be to grow this to $10 million in revenue through becoming a sports book in a way, or at least partnering with sports books. And right now we have a subscription model, but eventually we want to let our members place bets. I know you guys really want to start placing bets with the bot. And that's what this demo at the beginning was for. As the bot becomes more agentic, it's already an agent in that it's an AI that can perform actions like Google search, simple things like that using a calculator. Eventually, it's going to be able to use a web browser, and it's going to be able to place bets on these websites for us, like FanDuel. And that's going to be huge for the bot. And I plan on not selling this and just going straight to IPO. That's our exit strategy. We definitely believe that this is a better product, and it all comes down to the win rates than DraftKings and FanDuel and all these other platforms out there. So we're to win it as a community. And in terms of partnerships, you know, I'm obviously a YouTuber. I'll be promoting this as well as my other AI educational content. I'm not going to just be talking about WagerGPT, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to be talking about other things. And by the way, the reason I haven't made a video in a while is because I moved to New York recently, a few months ago, because it's a much better regulatory climate than California for sports betting companies like WagerGPT. And I've had an incredible time here. I love New York City. I've been really happy. So I've been good, and I'm sorry for not making videos more frequently. I know you guys miss me. I miss you, and I want to do this more often. So here's to me doing it more often and making more videos. But the partnership strategy, we're going to get other influencers to talk about Wager and their wins. Clearly, it's winning for our members, and we want to show that to other people. So we'll do that. A lot of people have asked about affiliate programs, and I'm sorry, again, I'm sorry, guys, for not being able to have the capacity for that. There's just so much I want to do in terms of development and making the bot better. These need to be updated. David Schuster is a friend of mine. Micah is a friend of his, and they are no longer CEO and CFO. I'm CEO and CTO. Basically, we had a whole stint where we were working together for a bit, but they've decided to become more advisors to Wager because I just kind of want to do everything with this product and use AI to help me. And I'm not really good at working with people. So thank you, David and Micah, for helping for the few months that you did. But I'm going to appreciate you in the advisory roles that you remained in now. And I love this product, and I look forward to being the CEO as well. Also, we've got a bunch of member testimonials. Ron Z says this is definitely the best model I've ever seen. It just works. And that was on an NHL focus. This was a spreadsheet he made of his wins, incredible wins, Ronnie. And we have so many more I'm going to talk about. But how does this bot work, right? Because we're seeing ChatGPT and the incredible advances with GPT-4o. I'm sure you guys have tried Omni, an incredible product with Claude 3. I use Claude 3 all the time, Opus, and Gemini, right? Gemini is incredible. Well, I will say Gemini is not as good as the other two for sure, but it's good as a tertiary source of information to approve or disprove of the opinions of the other two models. Because I find that when we use these models together, the output is objectively better than if we were to just use one. And there was a paper that came out recently that talked about how all models are converging on one source representational knowledge. It came out of MIT recently, and people were talking about it on X as well. And there's something to be said around that. And I think right now, one basic way that we're doing that is we're just using different models as smaller knowledge representations that are together a bigger brain. And eventually we're going to get one model that rules them all, essentially. And we don't need to use separate models. But we need to start thinking of LLMs, large language models, as agents. And WagerGPT is an agent. It's got this brain, and it is trained on all this text data. But Also, all of these leagues like horse racing and MLB have completely different data sets. Horse racing has a bunch of British data. It has a bunch of textual data that's in different formats. It has numerical data that's clearly different, right? You have different types of bets you can make with trifectas and exactas versus moneyline bets in MLB. So we have different bet types. And so we have different dedicated custom models for each of these leagues that are built with PyTorch. And you could think of Wager, there's a GPT as an orchestration layer, but we have individual models that I train and that are retrained every week on not just the numerical data coming from our sports feeds, it's the data coming from the wins from the bot that are there in the form of the weekly reports. And I think most crucially, the secret sauce that we have and nobody else does is the prompt bets that we have from our users. There has been over 20 years of betting theory that have gone around, whether it's the Martingale method or the Kelly criterion, but prompt betting is a new type of gambling theory where the type of English and the structure of it is going to directly influence the validity of your bets. And we have those bets. Our members are making essay-long prompts with numbers and odds and all sorts of very creative text in them. And the bot learns from them. It stores them. And every week it improves. So that's a little bit about the technical architecture. And at the very end, I say we're raising $3 million at a $30 million pre-money valuation. And the fact is that now this round is mostly closed from exceptional investors. If you are interested, reach out to me, but probably like 10 or 15% equity left. So there's that. So that's a little bit more about the deck. Now I want to get into the win rates. Okay, this is the big talk of the town because this is the most important thing, right? If the bot is winning, that's all that matters. And the bot is winning and it's losing, and we're going to talk about that. But I want to explain how these win rates work in detail because it needs a little bit of clarification. Coffeezilla made a video about WagerGPT where he said that the win rates are not accurate. He asked on X if the win rates were accurate and how an AI could specifically generate these types of win rates and what the error was. And then he deleted that tweet that he made. And he also, when I commented on his video 2 months ago, I said, excellent critique, Coffee. You've made some valid points and I'll improve WagerGPT based on them, which I have. I think he hid that comment because I can't see it now. And I'm sure somebody would have at least replied something. So clearly that was a hidden comment. But despite that, it's all good. Coffeezilla, I love what you do. Voidzilla, Steven, all your names. I love what you do. And you shouldn't be sad because our members are winning. I love this product. I'm winning. And let's talk about how these reports are generated. So let's go into these reports. Now, most sports betting companies don't publish weekly reports. They publish monthly reports, but we want to be really transparent about our bot's performance. So if we click on weekly report, we can see that the bot is going to have a cumulative amount of 92.63 units that it's won and a cumulative amount of 34.67% in ROI across all leagues. What the bot does for each of these leagues is it tallies the number of wins, the number of losses, it computes an ROI, and then the number of units up, where each bet is worth 1 unit. And not only that, we can click on Bet Spreadsheet for even more detailed information, where we can see the date of a match, the away team, the away score, the home score, and the bet suggestion that was made, as well as the bet outcome, whether it's a win or a loss. Now, this data is really valuable because it is auto-generated every single week. But I will say that sometimes it has had flawed generation. Sometimes it'll say the wrong date for a game. Sometimes it will make the wrong bet that the bot didn't actually make. And members are very quick to point that out. And every week I improve the bot so that the generations are as accurate as possible, pulled directly from what I just showed you, which is Flight Deck, which is a CSV that stores every single prediction every 5 minutes that the bot makes every single day for the past 4 months for anyone in the community to view, because we love accountability. It's a part of our values. Always be learning, follow the data, play smart, bet wise, earn trust, and we will do all of these things. Give back, which I'm going to talk about at the very end. So So that's probably not enough. That's great. Okay, the bot is generating these reports, but how is it doing that? So what I want to do today is open source the code for the report generation that I first used so we can see what it first looked like. And it's improved since then, but I want to give you guys an idea of how powerful it is to use GPT models to generate reports, spreadsheets, and numbers and calculate these things. I'm going to read this prompt to you. I have a CSV file. This CSV file would be flight deck containing bet suggestion data from this week's NBA games. Now, I do this for each league specifically because the more data you put into this initial prompt, the more likely it will hallucinate. So you want to reduce the likelihood of hallucination by narrowing the data that you're giving it. In this case, league by league. For this week's NBA games, which includes columns for date, away team, away score, home score, recommendation, and bet outcome. Here are the details to follow. Each bet is for 1 unit. A win adds units according to the odds, while a loss deducts 1 unit. Recommendations, either money line, totals, or spread. And then I give it an example of the type of bet that the bot makes so that it better understands how to read the cells in the spreadsheet. Now, upon completion, calculate the total ROI and the units gained. Also summarize the number of games won and lost. Please prepare a comprehensive report in a PDF format that accurately describes the ROI and win rate based on the CSV. Let me download the PDF. This is generated by the bot every single week for every single league, and then those PDFs are concatenated together into the report that you're seeing here. That's the weekly report. Can it be improved still? Yes. And what do we do in that case if the weekly reports are not correct? Well, we have something called a community submission option where we have people like Pete who submit their own tracking of the bot and how they've done. And there's so many ways to track win rates as well. One thing we haven't tracked is the flight deck, and that's the real sauce that we have. It's not the predictions that we make for all the different sports. It's specifically the top 5 picks. And we can see here, David O'Rourke said he loved the product, but the horse racing needed improvements, and those improvements have been made. Yahoo Fantasy reached out. They asked for an exclusive deal to have access to our predictions because of how premium they are. I said, no, that's not what we want to do. I think we can take this all the way to IPO based on how good the bot's doing. Zoo Hare said, I just took Flight Deck yesterday and won all of them. Freebie say the #1 play hit. Hoochie, one of our most active members, said Flight Deck's top pick went 17-2. Nowhere in the betting community has that kind of win rate. So over the next week or two, I'm going to have the bot really segment and track specifically the golden pick and the top 5 picks every day. And I think we're going to be seeing some incredible results from that. But in addition to that, I think that Coffeezilla made a great point. His point was that there needs to be more accountability around the win rates for the bot. And so even though we're publishing these weekly reports, even though there's a CSV that's downloadable, that data is still able to be manipulated inside of the database that I control, right? So how do we remove that ability? Enter Bitcoin in the blockchain. What if we could timestamp every single prediction that the bot makes onto the Bitcoin blockchain when it happens? So we can look at the blockchain as an auditable, verifiable third-party source that nobody can change. And the way to do that is by using OpenStamps. OpenStamps is a free way to timestamp any data onto the Bitcoin blockchain in particular. And I want to take a quick demo to show you how that works right here. We can install Open Timestamps client as a pip library in Python. And once we've installed it, then we can run it as a single Python script. This script is going to take these 3 predictions as an example for Team A versus Team B, and it's going to timestamp every single one of them. When it's done, we'll see that all predictions have been individually timestamped. We can then retrieve those predictions as well, and we can see the timestamp for every single one of those predictions, as well as a link to those predictions right here on the Bitcoin blockchain. So this is something that I'm going to have implemented in the bot in the next 2 weeks. So by June 1st, I'm putting a date on it. All predictions will be verifiable on the Bitcoin blockchain. So keep track of that. That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. And more crypto integrations are coming as well. That's a little bit about the win rate, and that's a little bit about the bots. Now I want to get into detail about the WagerGPT API. And today I'm announcing a $10,000 prize competition with a June 1st deadline to build with the WagerGPT API. And you can build whatever with it, but the one criteria for success is profitability. So whoever makes the most profitable bet using the WagerGPT API is going to win the top prize, which is $5,000. Second prize is $3,000, and third prize is $2,000. And some of our members have made incredible bots with it already. Paul T made an incredible spreadsheet using the WagerGPT API in his own. He localized it to his own language, and you can see here how he did it. But that's the idea. I'm super excited for you guys to try out the API, but there's a lot more to do with the API. So I want to show you how quick and easy it is to build a bot with the WagerGPT API by building an AI agent like the one I showed at the beginning that intelligently places bets using the WagerGPT API. So let's do this. Step one is going to be to build a desktop app with Flutter. And so let's do this. There's going to be 3 dependencies. The first is the WagerGPT API. The second is Flutter, which is Google's platform to build in one language called Dart across web and mobile and desktop across any platform. It's incredible. And the third is Hyperwrite. And Hyperwrite is a way to create agents in the browser. And I'm really excited to talk about Hyperwrite. By the way, I am an investor in Hyperwrite, so full disclosure there, but it's still an incredible product. So let's talk about how to do this in 5 minutes. So I want to time myself and see if I can do this in 5 minutes. All right. So I'm counting the time now. All right. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the WagerGPT API page. So I'll go to api.wagergpt.co. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the API docs page. And I love the context window on Claude. Claude has a much better context window than ChatGPT right now. So I'm going to say, here are the docs for the WagerGPT API. Boom. Now, write me a simple Flutter desktop app that lets me chat with WagerGPT and explain how it works. So what this is going to do is it's going to use the analysis endpoint of WagerGPT, probably, to let me talk with it. And the analysis endpoint is very agentic. It's not just talking to a language model. It's talking to an agent. WagerGPT is an agent. It performs Google searches when it needs. It searches the web. It is able to use a calculator when necessary. And there's many more features coming as well. But what you can see is in one single app screen, it is exactly how I thought. It's using the analysis endpoint with my access token to access the WagerGPT API, and then it's going to let me chat with it in a chat window. So let's copy that. Tell me how to run this. In terminal. Open that. Flutter create, WagerGPT chat. Okay. I was playing with the self-operating computer by Hyperwrite as well. That's why I have that file there. So make directory test. Of course, I have test already. So make directory today, cd into today. Flutter create, WagerGPT chat. Like it says, make sure you have Flutter installed. And you can do that with either command line or the GUI interface. And I'm going to cd into WagerGPT chat. Now I'm going to open it in VS Studio, and then lib main.dart is the class file that I'm going to replace with the one that it gave me. Thank you. And by the way, Cursor is another good IDE that I haven't quite used in detail yet, but I'm going to remove that to make sure everything's working. Boom. I have used Cursor a little bit, but I didn't like it as much, but I know I'm going to start liking it because it's really good. So I'm going to replace that with my access token, api.wagergpt.co, with my access token here. Type in my access token. Got it. Now go back to Claude and Flutter config, enable platform desktop, enable desktop. Oh, I got to replace that with Mac OS. Okay, get the dependencies with Flutter pub get. Now run it on Mac OS. Flutter run Mac OS. Launching. And we're getting the Mac application. It's building it for us. Come on, build faster. See, I don't have to touch Xcode or the whole tool chain. Of course, it needs to be installed under the hood, but with Flutter, I'm just have one Dart file. That's it. And it's orchestrating. This code will work on Windows as well. If I want to really automate this, I want it to work with the browser. So for that part, we need to use Hyperwrite. And so the easiest way to use Hyperwrite, click on Hyperwrite. I will click on Agent. I will create a workflow and I'll call it a name. I'll say test demo, start recording. And what it's going to do is going to record my actions. And what I can have it do is I can have it record my actions as I click through a website, but also I can have it look at these, API results intelligently in the browser. So let's say if I go to this endpoint, I can say, go to api.wagerGPT, look at the results on the web page. So this is kind of a hack, right? It can see the results of the WagerGPT API, analyze them from the web page, go back to the sports betting platform, and then place the bet intelligently. And that's what makes it different from a macro or something like that. A macro just does the same thing over and over again in the exact way. Whereas with Hyperwrite, this is a way to intelligently have your AI work with your browser. So in this case, because of its predictions, it's going to then make the right clicks and keyboard entries on FanDuel. So that's a 5-minute example of using the WagerGPT API. And I'm so excited to see what you guys build with it. Next steps are June 1st, I'm announcing the prize winners of the WagerGPT API. It is for members to participate in and use. You can sign up at any time at wagergpt.co today. And today, for only 7 days from the launch of this video, I'm giving out a code. It's transparency30 for 30 days free for WagerGPT. So if you want to try out the bot, this is your chance to try it out for 30 days free. If you like it, if you win money, great. If you don't, I'm sorry, but most likely, I think you're going to enjoy the community and the amount that you're learning from data science. We love to play with this bot and we love to make it smarter and we love to win. So sign up at wagergpt.co today and let's keep winning.
Looks like the Lucknow Supergiants killed it. Thanks, Wager.